नमस्कार विद्यार्थी मित्र हो, आपण झुलॉजी सेक्शनमधला टॉपिक डिस्कस करत आहोत स्केलेटन अँड मुवमेंट्स. काही बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट पाहिल्यानंतर आता आपण ह्यूमन स्केलेटनवरती कॉन्सन्ट्रेट करतो आहे. ह्यूमन स्केलेटन इट इज मेड अप बाय 206 bones. Out of these 206 bones, 80 bones forms the axial skeleton, and this axial skeleton forms the central part of the human body. This axial skeleton further consists several regions: anterior-most region skull, middle vertebral column, and third, that is the associated part, that is the thoracic cage. After completion of skull, in this lecture we want to focus on the main features of the vertebral column. Vertebral column, presence of vertebral column is the peculiarity of vertebrates. Peculiarity of vertebrates. You know that is the chordata. Chordata further divides into two groups, that is the protochordata and vertebrata. Protochordata are the chordates in which notochord persists throughout the life. In few it degenerate but never replaced by vertebral column, while in the vertebrata notochord replaced by vertebral column. Vertebral column, it is a supporting structure present mid dorsal in region. It is mid dorsal in region. This vertebral column start from the foramen magnum. You know that foramen magnum is the cavity or foramen present at the base of the skull, from which spinal cord enters into the vertebral column. So vertebral column start from foramen magnum and present up to the tip, that is the up to the caudal region. This vertebral column have average length, it is the 70 centimeter or 28 inches is the average length of 70 centimeter. This 70 centimeter vertebral column further divides into different regions, that is cervical region, thoracic region, lumbar region, sacral region. So these are the different regions. So when we focus on this region, first cervical region means neck region, thoracic chest region, lumbar means abdominal region, and sacral region ends with the tail or the coccygeal region. Now when we focus on this vertebral column, this vertebral column shows four curves, that is the cervical curve, thoracic curve, lumbar curve, and sacral curves. So vertebral column have the adult vertebral column have the four curves, that is cervical curve, thoracic curve, lumbar curve, and sacral curve. Out of these four curves, two are the primary curves while the two are the secondary curves. Now what is the meaning of this? That is the primary curves, the curves which present from the birth, so it is termed as a primary curves. The curves which are present from birth, so it is termed as a primary curve. Generally thoracic means it is the thoracic curve and sacral curves are the primary curves, while the curves which develops later on, it is termed as a secondary curves, and first secondary curve it is termed as a cervical curve, which is developed after 6 to 7 months after birth, while secondary curves it is termed as a lumbar curve, and these lumbar curves developed after 11 to 12 months after birth, and in adult we can observe the four curves. This vertebral column is made up by the irregular bones, and these irregular bones termed as a vertebrae. So total number of vertebrae present in vertebral column, it is 33. So it is 33 vertebrae forms the vertebral column. So the formula of vertebral column: cervical region consists 7, so C7, thoracic region consists 12, so it is TH12, lumbar region, abdominal region consists 5, so it is the 5, while sacral region, hip region consists 5 vertebrae, so S5, and tail region consists a single bone, means here it is 4 bones and forms the coccygeal vertebrae. But during development, when we observe the vertebral column of the adult, it consists the irregular bones, but these irregular bones now it is 26 bones, and that's why when we observed on this 26 bone, means cervical region consists 7 bone vertebrae, thoracic region consists 12 thoracic vertebrae, lumbar region consists 5 lumbar, but here 5 sacral vertebrae fuse together and form the single bone, that is the sacrum, while 4 coccygeal vertebrae fuse together and form the coccyx. So in exam when they ask on this total number of bones present in vertebral column, remember that is the 26 bones. In cervical region 7 cervical, in thoracic 12 thoracic, in lumbar 5 lumbar, sacral region single bone sacrum, and in coccyx region 1 coccyx bone is present. So we want to go in details of vertebral column. When we focus on this vertebral column made up by the vertebrae, and this is the structure of typical vertebra, most important from theory point of view as well as from NEET point of view, that is the structure of typical vertebra. When we focus on the typical vertebra, means vertebra shows the all the components, so it is termed as a typical vertebra, and generally lumbar vertebra is considered as a typical vertebra. Generally this vertebral column is made up by two main part, that is first it is body or centrum, and second part that is the neural arc. So important part of the any vertebra, that is the body and the neural arc. When we focus on the body or the centrum, and this body or centrum derived from the notochord. MCQs may be asked in the NEET examination from which part of the which part of vertebral column developed from the notochord, that is the body or centrum, which present at a ventral side, while neural arc having the processes which are present at the posterior side. So this is the centrum. When we focus on the centrum in human being, this centrum in human being present means from both sides it is flat, or we cannot observe concavity on the centrum, and that's why human vertebrae is a acoelous or amphiplaton vertebrae. It is acoelous or amphiplaton vertebrae present in human being. Question may be asked in NEET examination, which type of vertebrae present in human being? Answer is acoelous, amphiplaton, but you know that the other options which are the different vertebrae, on these vertebrae formed on the basis of nature of concavity present on the centrum, If there is concavity present at anterior side only, anterior side concavity, then it is termed as a procoelous vertebrae. If concavity present at back side or it is posterior side, then it is termed as a ophistocoelous. Ophisto means back, coelous means concavity. So concavity present at back side. Acoelous, means absent, coelous means concavity, absence of concavity. So both sides have the flat nature. So it is amphiplaton vertebrae present in human being. While hetero means different, coelous means concavity. We can observe different concavity in centrum region. So heterocoelous. But we remember in regarding human being, acoelous or amphiplaton vertebrae. That's why both vertebrae or centrum of human being get connected with each other by a disc termed as a intervertebral disc. So it is termed as intervertebral disc. So remember, intervertebral disc present between the two vertebrae, and that's why our vertebral column provides some flexibility, and intervertebral disc shows amphiarthrosis type of joint. Okay, after now this is the nature of centrum. Now second part, it is the neural arc. Neural arc is the posterior part of the vertebra, and this posterior part, it is somewhat conical, and this neural arc have the three different processes. At both sides they have the process, it is paired process termed as a transverse process. This transverse process is somewhat fan-like transverse process. Second, that is the at posterior side there is presence of a long process termed as a spinous process, while in between the transverse process and spinous process we can observe a lamina. And these lamina consist the articulating process. These articulating process are of two types, that is pre-zygapophysis and post-zygapophysis. pre-zygapophysis and post-zygapophysis, superior articulating process and inferior articulating process. So neural arc have the three processes: transverse process, spinous process and articulating process. These articulating processes are four. Two are the superior articulating process, pre-zygapophysis, and two are the posterior articulating process, post-zygapophysis. And in the lamina, neural arc encloses the cavity termed as a vertebral canal, and through this vertebral canal spinal cord passes into the runs through the vertebral column. So this is about the neural arc and typical structure of vertebra. So like that, this is the vertebra, one vertebra communicate with the another vertebra. So this part is termed as a centrum, while my fingers are works as a processes. This large thumb and this little finger act as a transverse processes. This is the middle finger, it is spinous process, while these are the superior articulating and inferior. Superior means pre-zygapophysis provide articulating surface for the post-zygapophysis for the attachment of above vertebrae, while the post-zygapophysis provide articulating surface for the next, and that's why entire vertebral column works as a rigid and single structure. So this is the typical vertebra. Now after completion of typical vertebra, concentrate on the vertebrae present in cervical region. Cervical region consists 7 cervical vertebrae, and 7 cervical vertebrae is the peculiarity of mammals. Every mammals have the 7 cervical vertebrae. Out of the 7 cervical vertebrae, vertebra number 3rd to 6th, it is the typical cervical vertebrae, means those show similar components, so it is termed as a typical vertebra, while vertebra 1st, 2nd and 7th, they shows dissimilar structure, so it is termed as a atypical vertebra. Now 1st cervical vertebra, it is termed as a atlas. It is termed as atlas. The most important peculiarity, we does not go into detail here, the most important peculiarity, atlas does not consist centrum. This is the most important peculiarity, does not consist the centrum. Second peculiarity, it have the large vertebral foramen. They have the large vertebral foramen, anterior and posterior. This is the peculiarity of 1st cervical vertebrae, and it looks like the ring, so it is termed as a atlas. So then 2nd cervical vertebrae is the axis. 2nd cervical vertebrae is axis, and the peculiarity these axes have or consist the odontid process. Consists the odontid process. The peculiarity of axis, there is presence of odontid process at long side. Posterior side spinous process have the ridge. This is the odontid process, and this odontid process fix into the atlas and forms the joint, that is the pivot joint, or it is termed as the atlantoaxial joint. It is termed as atlantoaxial joint. While 7th cervical vertebra is the vertebra prominence, most important peculiarity, it have long spinous process. It have the long spinous process. So due to the long spinous process, it is termed as a vertebra prominence. So these are the atypical. Objective may be asked. 1st cervical vertebrae is termed as atlas. Peculiarity, does not consist the centrum, and 2nd large vertebral foramen. 2nd cervical vertebrae termed as axis have the odontid process, and 3rd 7th cervical vertebra prominence have the long spinous process. After that is thoracic vertebrae. Total number of thoracic vertebrae present in thoracic region, that is the 12 thoracic vertebrae. Out of these 12 thoracic vertebrae, 2nd to 8th vertebrae are typical in nature, while the 1st, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th are the atypical, means they shows dissimilar type of structures. While when we focus on the thoracic vertebrae, most important peculiarity, the centrum present in thoracic vertebrae, it is somewhat heart-shaped centrum, or it is somewhat triangular centrum is present. So heart-shaped or triangular centrum is the peculiarity is the peculiarity of the thoracic vertebrae. Then second peculiarity, presence of two demifacets. Presence of two demifacet. Demi means half, facet means concavity. For connection of the thoracic ribs with the vertebral column, there is presence of two demifacets. It is the peculiarity of thoracic vertebrae. Lumbar vertebrae, five lumbar vertebrae present in the abdominal region, and these five lumbar vertebrae, out of which first, second, third and fourth are typical, while the fifth are the atypical. And lumbar vertebrae shows the all the components which are observed in the typical vertebra, means it have the centrum. Here the centrum which is present, it is somewhat dumbbell shape. Dumbbell shaped centrum is present here, or sometime it is termed as a kidney shape centrum present, and at posterior side we can observe the three processes. So lumbar vertebra shows all the component of typical vertebra. So this type of three type of vertebrae, that is cervical, thoracic and lumbar vertebrae. After lumbar vertebra, next that is the sacral vertebrae. When we focus on the sacral vertebrae, total number of 5 sacral vertebrae, and these 5 sacral vertebrae fuse together and form the single bone, that is the sacrum. So sacrum is a single bone, and this sacrum present in hip region, When we focus on the sacrum, it is somewhat quadrangular or sometimes look like a triangular. Generally it shows the concavity at inner side and convex nature at the outer side, means from dorsal side. This sacrum makes the angle with vertebral column. It is termed as a sacrovertebral angle, and the sacrovertebral angle, it is about 210 degree is the sacrovertebral angle. Now generally when we focus on the anterior side, at the center it have the region, means it is articulating surface with the intervertebral disc associated with the lumbar vertebrae. At the base we can observe the promontory region, while lateral processes articulates with the ilium, So this is the ilium bones, and from the joint it is termed as a sacroiliac joint. So remember this joint further, that is the sacroiliac joint. Then posterior portion articulates with the coccyx, while the central part have the bar, it is termed as a sacral bar. There are 4 sacral bar, divide the sacrum into 5 regions. So it is the sacral 1, sacral 2, sacral 3, sacral 4 and sacral 5. At lateral side of the sacral bar, both side we can observe the pair of foramen termed as a sacral foramen, through which the nerves and blood vessel enters into the posterior region of the body through the sacral foramen, while both sides have the surface for the articulating with the, here it is with the right ilium, while it is the left ilium. So this is the sacrum. So sacrum is the bone present in the sacral region or hip region, and posterior side it communicate or provide the articulating surface with the coccyx. So coccyx is the posterior most part, and this coccyx articulates with the sacrum, and this coccygeal is the vestigial organ in human being. You know that vestigial organ means organ which are non-functional today but perform function at ancestor time. आपल्या ancestor मध्ये जेव्हा टेल होती तेव्हा हा कॉकेक्स फंक्शनल होता, पण जनरली व्हेन वी फोकस ऑन दी होमोनॉइडिया की ज्यांच्यामध्ये टेल ॲब्सेंट आहे त्यांच्यामध्ये म्हणजे एप्स आणि मॅनमध्ये तिथे हा कॉकेक्स हा वेस्टिजियल ऑर्गन झालेला आहे. सो हियर वी कंप्लीट दी वर्टिब्रल कॉलम. आफ्टर वर्टिब्रल कॉलम, नेक्स्ट थर्ड component of axial skeleton, it is the thoracic cage. This thoracic cage is made up by 25 bones, and these 25 bones are of two types. One is the sternum flat bone and 24 are the thoracic ribs. So single sternum bone and 24 thoracic ribs forms the thoracic cage, and thoracic cage, you know that, provide protection to the most important organ, that is the heart, as well as it provides the protection to pair of lungs. So thoracic cage is protective in nature. This thoracic cage involved in the breathing movement, inhalation and exhalation. When we focus on this thoracic cage, first a single flat bone, it is termed as a sternum. It present mid ventrally in chest region. चेस्ट रिजनला समोरच्या बाजूला हे प्रेझेंट आहे मिड व्हेंट्रल इन चेस्ट रिजन. व्हेन वी फोकस ऑन द सेंट्रम have three regions. Anterior quadrangular region is manubrium, middle region is the body, and posterior region is the xiphoid process. So sternum have three components: manubrium, body, and xiphoid process. Manubrium is the anterior portion where clavicle bone of the shoulder get communicate and form the sternoclavicular joint. It is termed as sternoclavicular joint. While the manubrium gives attachment surface to the first thoracic vertebrae. At the junction of manubrium and body, second thoracic vertebrae get attached. While middle portion is termed as a body, and body provide the attachment surface to the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh thoracic vertebrae. So mainly vertebrae attaches with the body, and posterior cartilaginous part is termed as a xiphoid process. So sternum is made up by three components: manubrium, body, and the xiphoid process. Now concentrate on the thoracic ribs. There are 24 thoracic ribs, means it is 12 pairs of thoracic ribs, and these 12 pairs of thoracic ribs are of again three types. That is, when we focus on the single thoracic ribs, here it is somewhat, it is C-shaped thoracic ribs, and three C-shaped thoracic ribs consist anterior portion, that is head, then neck, then shaft, and fourth, that is the inferior or costal cartilage. Fourth, it is costal cartilage. So it is somewhat C-shaped. Head articulates with the vertebral bodies, while the neck have the facet articulating with the transverse processes of vertebrae. Then this is the shaft which runs the at lateral side of the body, while the costal cartilage articulates with the sternum bones. Which bone? Sternum bone. When we focus on the thoracic ribs, these thoracic ribs are of three types. That is, first seven ribs are termed as true ribs. They are termed as true ribs because these ribs directly attaches with the sternum with their own cartilage, so it is termed as a true ribs. Then second type, that is the false ribs. These false ribs means 8 to 10th are the false ribs because they are not directly attached to the sternum with their own cartilage. They attach to the sternum with the help of cartilage of 7, so it is termed as a false ribs. While 11th and 12th, these two are termed as a third type. It is termed as a floating ribs. Sorry. It is floating ribs. So floating ribs, because they are directly or indirectly does not connected with the sternum, they have presented the posterior side. This is essential to increase the area of the thoracic cavity or volume of thoracic cavity. So here remember, there are 24 ribs, means 12 pairs. Out of these 12 pairs, first 7 pairs are true ribs, while 8, 9, 10th are the false ribs, while the 11th and 12th are the floating ribs. So question may be asked, or 2 or 3 times question asked on this thoracic cage. So remember these points from NEET point of view, that is sternum and thoracic ribs form the thoracic cage. These get connected. So total number of bones present in thoracic cage is 25. If question independently asked, that is how many bones form the thoracic cage, then it is 39, because at mid dorsal side there is presence of 12 thoracic vertebrae. 12th thoracic vertebrae means 12, 24 ribs means it is 36, then one bone single, it is sternum, so it is 37, and 2 clavicles get connected, so it is 39. So total number of bones form the thoracic cage independently, it is 39, and if it is associated with the part of axial skeleton, then it is made up by 25 bone, that is the single sternum, and 24 thoracic ribs. Functions performed by thoracic cage, that is the protection. It provides daily protection to the important organ, that is the heart and pair of lungs. Second, thoracic cage involved in the breathing process. It increases the cavity of the volume of the thoracic cavity. After completion of the axial skeleton, second part, that is appendicular skeleton. Appendicular skeleton is made up by 126 bones. This appendicular skeleton consists the different bones which lies at the peripheral region, so it is termed as a appendicular skeleton. This appendicular skeleton consists two type of bones, that is the limb bones and girdle bones, limb bones and girdle bones. Now first concentrate on the limb bones. These limb bones are total 120 bones forms the limbs, while the 6 bones forms the girdles. So when you focus on the limb bones, you know that there are two type of limbs present in human being, forelimbs and hind limbs. Forelimbs consist 60 bones, while hind limb consists 60 bones. When you focus on the several regions of the forelimbs, the region of forelimb present between the shoulder to elbow, this region is termed as the upper arm. The region between the elbow to wrist, this region is termed as a forearm. Then this is the wrist region, then this is the palm region, while these are the fingers. So that is the upper arm, forearm, wrist, palm and fingers. So when we focus on the bones present here, in upper arm one single bone termed as a humerus. In forearm there are two bones are present, radius and ulna. In wrist regions there are the 8 carpals bones are present. In palm regions 5 metacarpals are present, while total number of 14 phalanges are present. So total when we focus on this, so it is total 30 bones from the forelimb. So left forelimbs and right forelimbs both 30 together form the 60. Now for humerus, radius, ulna, these are the long bones of the forelimbs. When you focus on the humerus is the long bone present in the upper arm. When you focus on the long bones, it generally consists two regions, that is the epiphysis and middle portion is generally termed as a diaphysis. So epiphysis and diaphysis generally regions of the long bones. When you focus on the humerus, this humerus consists three important components, that is the head of the humerus, then this is the shaft of the humerus, shaft also termed as a diaphysis, while this is the posterior portion of the humerus, that is the posterior region. When we focus on the head of the humerus, this head region consists the important part, that is the greater tuber cell and lesser tuber cell, and this greater tuber cell and lesser tuber cell from which arises the head, and this head articulates with the glenoid cavity of the scapula and forms the joint. It is termed as a ball and socket joint. We want to discuss it later on. So this is the head. Middle region is the shaft. Shaft consists the nutrient foramen, while posterior region somewhat triangular. It is made up by lateral epicondyle and medial epicondyle. These are the surfaces, lateral epicondyle and medial epicondyle. And in between this lateral epicondyle and medial epicondyle, we observe the two type of fossa, that is coronoid fossa and radial fossa. This side consists the coronoid fossa, while this is the termed as a radial fossa. While the posterior end of the humerus have the two surfaces, that is capitulum and the trochlea. This capitulum and trochlea articulates with the radius and ulna. Generally this capitulum associated with the olecranon fossa and forms the hinge joint. So this is the humerus bone. Humerus is the bone present in the upper arm. Now radius and ulna. Radius and ulna are the two bones present in the forearm. Radius is the smaller bone which is present at the thumb side, while the ulna is present at the little finger side. This radius and ulna get connected internally by interosseous membrane. It also have three parts, that is the head, body and posterior end. When this head of the radius articulates with the ulna and form the radio-ulnar joint, while ulna at anterior side have the one process, it is termed as a coronoid process. This coronoid process affixes into the coronoid fossa and forms the hinge joint, while olecranon fossa gives articulating surface for the capitulum. At posterior side we can observe the two processes, that is the styloid process, and at both side, at radius styloid process and styloid process of ulna, and this styloid process articulates with the bones of the wrist termed as the carpal's bones. Now carpals are the small irregular bones present in the wrist region. There are the 8 carpal's bones, and these 8 carpal's bones present in the 2 rows, proximal row and distal row. When we focus on the proximal row bone, then it is these are the 8 bones. By name, remember, it is the scaphoid, then lunate, then it is scaphoid, lunate, triquetral, pisiform, then trapezoid, trapete, capate and hamate. So these are the 8 carpal's bones present in the wrist region, and these carpal's bones articulates with each other and form the gliding joint. Carpal's bones articulates with the metacarpals present in the thumb, palm regions. There are the 5 metacarpals present in the palm region, while the 14 phalanges present in the fingers. These 14 phalanges, 2 present in thumb, 3 present in each finger. So total there are the 14 phalanges present in the fingers. So 14 phalanges, 5 metacarpals, 8 carpals, 2 radius ulna and 1 humerus form the 30 bones of the forelimbs, and forelimbs bones forms the forelimbs. Thank you.